The receipt fell like a dead leaf from Derek's jacket pocket, landing face up on their bedroom carpet. Sienna picked it up without thinking, expecting to see the hardware store purchase he'd mentioned yesterday or maybe lunch with his co-workers. Instead, her eyes locked onto words that made her stomach drop. Le Jardin Restaurant. 2 entrees. A bottle of wine that cost more than their monthly electricity bill. Chocolate lava cake for 2. 8:30 p.m. on a Thursday night. Last Thursday night. The night Derek said he was working late on the Henderson account. The receipt was dated 3 days after their 8th wedding anniversary, which Derek had forgotten until she reminded him that morning. He'd apologized, promised to make it up to her, said work had been crazy. She believed him because that's what 8 years of marriage had taught her to do. Trust, believe, give him the benefit of the doubt. Sienna sat on the edge of their bed, the receipt trembling in her hand. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe he took a client there. Maybe it was a work dinner. But why hadn't he mentioned it? And why did the receipt show only 2 meals, not 3 or 4 like a business dinner would have? She looked at Derek's jacket hanging on the back of their bedroom door. They'd lived in this house for 5 years, in this bedroom with its pale blue walls that she'd painted herself, with a window seat where she used to read on Saturday mornings while Derek made breakfast. When had that stopped? When had he stopped making breakfast? When had she stopped noticing? Her hands moved before her mind caught up. She went through every pocket of every jacket in his closet. She found 3 more receipts. Different restaurants. Different dates. All on nights he'd said he was working late. The room started to spin. Sienna sat back down, pressing her palm against her chest. Breathe. Think. Don't panic. There had to be an explanation. But deep down, in that place where women know things before they want to admit them, she already understood. She'd just been too scared to look. Sienna walked downstairs on shaking legs. Derek was in his home office, the blue glow of his computer screen lighting his face. He was handsome, everyone had always said so. Strong jaw, kind eyes, the smile that had made her fall in love with him at 23. She'd met him at a coffee shop near campus. He'd spilled his latte on her marketing textbook and bought her 3 more textbooks to apologize. They'd married 2 years later. Hey babe, Derek said without looking up from his screen. Did you need something? Just wondering how your day was, Sienna said, her voice surprisingly steady. Same old. Henderson account is killing me. Might have to work late again tomorrow. Tomorrow was Friday. Date night. Their date night, the one tradition she'd begged him to keep. That's okay, she said. I understand. She went back upstairs and sat on their bed again. She opened Derek's laptop, the one he kept on his nightstand. He'd never changed his password. It was still her birthday, 0-8-2-4-9-2. The email account opened easily. She typed hotel into the search bar. 43 results. Her hands shook so badly she could barely click. Confirmations from the Riverside Hotel. The Grand Plaza. The Sunset Inn. Dates going back 7 months. Almost every Thursday night. Sometimes Friday. Once on a Tuesday, which had been her cousin's wedding day. Derek said he had food poisoning and couldn't go. She'd attended alone, made excuses for him, felt embarrassed. He'd been at the Grand Plaza Hotel with someone else. Sienna's vision blurred. She blinked hard, refusing to cry yet. Not yet. She needed to know everything first. She opened his text messages on the laptop. They synced from his phone automatically. She scrolled through work contacts, messages with his brother, their neighborhood group chat. Then she saw it, a contact saved as V. Miller Office. The messages started innocent enough. Work questions. Meeting times. Then, 3 months ago, everything changed. Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again? Derek, this is crazy, but I've never felt like this before. You make me feel alive again. Things with Sienna have been dead for a while anyway. Sienna's hand flew to her mouth. The room tilted sideways. Dead. Their marriage was dead to him? She thought they'd just been in a rough patch. Every marriage had those. She'd been working extra hours on a big campaign. He'd been stressed about work. But dead? She scrolled further, reading messages that cut deeper with every word. V. Miller talked about their future together. About Derek leaving Sienna. About the house they'd buy, the trips they'd take. Derek responded with promises. With words of love that he hadn't said to Sienna in months. Soon, he'd written just last week. I just need to figure out the right time to tell her. She doesn't deserve this, but I can't live a lie anymore. Sienna stood up so fast the laptop nearly fell. She caught it, closed it gently, placed it back exactly where it had been. Her whole body felt numb. She walked to their bathroom and stared at herself in the mirror. She was 31 years old. She had smooth brown skin that she took care of with expensive creams Derek said were unnecessary. She had bright eyes that smiled even when she was tired. She wore her natural hair in twists that fell past her shoulders. She'd maintained her figure, went to the gym 3 times a week, ate healthy most days. She'd done everything right. Been a good wife. Supported his career when he wanted to change firms. Moved to this house even though it was farther from her family. Planned their meals, maintained their home, remembered birthdays and anniversaries. She'd loved him completely. And it hadn't been enough. Or maybe it had nothing to do with enough. Maybe he was just a man who broke promises. Sienna heard Derek's footsteps on the stairs. She splashed cold water on her face and walked out of the bathroom. "You okay?" he asked, already pulling off his shirt for bed. "You look pale." "I'm fine," she said. "Just tired. Want me to rub your shoulders?" The offer made her sick. Those hands had touched someone else. Had held someone else. Had promised someone else a future. "No thanks. I think I'm getting a headache. I'm going to sleep in the guest room so I don't keep you awake." "You sure?" Derek barely looked at her, already focused on his phone. Probably texting V. Miller. Probably saying goodnight to her the way he used to say goodnight to Sienna. "Yeah, I'm sure." Sienna gathered her pillow and walked down the hall to the guest room. She closed the door, locked it, and finally let herself break. She cried into the pillow so he wouldn't hear. Great, gulping sobs that shook her whole body. But even as she cried, her mind was working. Planning. Calculating. She'd spent 8 years loving this man, building a life with him, trusting him. She'd been faithful, honest, devoted. And he'd thrown it away for someone named V. Miller from his office. Sienna wiped her eyes and pulled out her phone. She opened a search browser and typed, "Best divorce attorneys near me." If Derek wanted to end their marriage for his mistress, fine. But he wasn't going to control how it happened. He wasn't going to have time to hide assets or prepare his story or paint himself as the victim. She was done being the understanding wife. The patient wife. The wife who trusted and believed and gave chances. By 3 in the morning, Sienna had scheduled consultations with 4 different attorneys. By 4, she'd made a list of every joint account, every asset, every piece of documentation she'd need. By 5, she'd taken photos of the receipts, screenshots of the emails and texts, and backed everything up to a cloud account Derek didn't know about. By 6, when Derek's alarm went off and he shuffled into the shower, Sienna had already decided. He would never see her cry again. He would never get the chance to explain or apologize or beg. He'd made his choice when he checked into that first hotel. Now she was making hers. And Derek Hayes was about to find out that the quiet, understanding wife he'd taken for granted had a spine made of steel. Sienna sat across from attorney Patricia Morgan in an office that smelled like leather and old books. The woman was maybe 50, with silver hair pulled into a tight bun and eyes that had probably seen every kind of marriage disaster possible. "Walk me through it," Patricia said, pen poised over a yellow legal pad. Sienna handed her a folder. Receipts from restaurants on nights he said he was working. Hotel confirmations going back 7 months. Screenshots of text messages between him and V. Miller, a woman from his office. Email exchanges. "I have everything." Patricia flipped through the documents, her expression never changing. "You've been thorough. When did you discover the affair?" 3 days ago. "And he doesn't know you know?" "No. I've been acting normal. We had dinner together last night. He kissed me goodbye this morning." Sienna's voice cracked on the last word. She cleared her throat. "Sorry." "Don't apologize. You're handling this remarkably well." Patricia set down the folder. "Here's what I need you to understand. You have grounds for divorce based on adultery. With this evidence, we can push for a favorable settlement. But this is going to be hard. The discovery process, the negotiations, seeing him, dealing with the reality of it all." "I don't want to see him," Sienna said. "I don't want to talk to him about this. I don't want to give him a chance to lie to me again." Patricia studied her for a long moment. "What exactly do you want?" "I want out. I want what's fair. I want to move on with my life." Sienna leaned forward. "And I want him to know that he lost something real for something cheap." "I can work with that." Patricia made notes. "Let's talk assets. The house. Joint ownership. We both contributed to the down payment, but I've made the last 6 months of mortgage payments because he said money was tight at work." Sienna pulled out another document. "Here's the payment history. Savings accounts? Joint account with about 30,000. My separate account from before we married with 12,000 that I never closed. His separate account that I don't have access to. We'll get access during discovery. Retirement accounts. They went through everything. The cars, the furniture, the joint credit cards. Sienna had made a list of everything she wanted to take, everything she was willing to let go. She'd thought it through during the sleepless nights, lying in the guest room while Derek snored in their bed. One more thing, Patricia said. Do you want to try counseling? Some couples work through affairs. No. The word came out harder than Sienna intended. He didn't make one mistake. He made 100. Every time he lied about working late. Every hotel reservation. Every text message. Every time he looked me in the eye and said he loved me while planning a future with her. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Patricia nodded. Then let's file. I'll have the papers ready by the end of the week. How do you want to serve him? Sienna had been thinking about this. The traditional method was having someone hand him papers at work or at home. But that felt too private, too easy for him to hide. I need a few more days to figure that out, she said. That evening, Sienna went back to playing the role of devoted wife. She made Derek's favorite dinner, pasta with the special sauce his mother had taught her. She laughed at his jokes. She asked about his day. She was perfect. And all the while her mind was spinning. Her best friend Tanya came over on Wednesday morning after Derek left for work. Tanya owned a hair salon downtown and always showed up with coffee and the ability to speak truth without sugarcoating it. You're too calm, Tanya said, studying Sienna across the kitchen table. It's freaking me out. I cried for 3 days straight. Now I'm done crying. Girl, I want to drive to his office and key his car. Don't. I need him to have no idea what's coming. Sienna pulled out her phone and showed Tanya the calendar. Look at this. Every Thursday for the past month, he has Henderson account meeting on his schedule from 7 to 10 p.m. That's when he's with her. Exactly. And this Thursday he has another one scheduled. 8 p.m. at Bella Vista. Tanya's eyes went wide. That fancy Italian place downtown? The one with the pianist and the view of the river? The same one. Sienna took a sip of coffee. I checked his text. He's taking Vanessa there. Vanessa. That's her real name? Vanessa Porter. I looked her up on social media. She's 26. Works in his firm's PR department. Posts inspirational quotes and pictures of her yoga poses. Tanya made a disgusted sound. He's so basic. Leaving his beautiful, successful wife for a 26-year-old who probably thinks The Notebook is deep. Despite everything, Sienna smiled. I love you. I love you too. So what's the plan? Sienna explained it. Tanya listened, her eyes getting wider with every detail. When Sienna finished, Tanya started laughing. You're brilliant. Evil but brilliant. Is it too much? Honey, it's not enough. But it's a good start. Tanya squeezed her hand. You're going to need a place to stay after. You can't be here when he gets home. I know. I've been looking at apartments. Forget that. I have a furnished place above my salon. The previous tenant moved out last month. It's yours for as long as you need it. Sienna felt tears prick her eyes. Tanya, I can't. You can and you will. I'm not letting you go through this alone. Tanya pulled out her phone. I'm texting you the address and the key code right now. Start moving things this week. Little by little, so he doesn't notice. For the next 3 days, Sienna lived a double life. In the mornings, she was the wife making coffee and kissing Derek goodbye. During the day, she was the woman preparing to blow up her marriage. She moved boxes to Tanya's apartment. She transferred money from their joint account to her personal account, careful not to take more than half. She collected important documents. Her birth certificate, their marriage license, her grandmother's jewelry. She also did something else. She called Bella Vista and spoke to the manager. I'd like to arrange something special, Sienna said. My husband will be dining there Thursday night. I'd like to have something delivered to his table. Of course. Flowers? Champagne? Divorce papers. There was a long pause. I'm sorry, what? My husband is bringing his mistress to your restaurant. I'd like your waiter to deliver divorce papers to him during his meal. I'll pay extra for the inconvenience. Another pause. Then, ma'am, I need to check with my manager. 10 minutes later, the manager called back. His name was Gabriel, and his voice was warm with understanding. My wife caught me cheating 10 years ago, Gabriel said. She forgave me and I spent every day since proving I deserved it. But I remember how much I hurt her. So yes, we'll help you. No charge. What time will he be there? 8 p.m. Reservation under Derek Hayes. We'll take care of it. And ma'am? I'm sorry you're going through this. Thursday morning, Derek whistled while getting dressed. He put on the cologne Sienna had bought him for Christmas. He checked his reflection 3 times. "You look nice," Sienna said from the bed. "Henderson account meeting tonight. Want to make a good impression." "Of course. I'll probably just order takeout and watch a movie." "Sounds good. Don't wait up." He kissed her forehead and Sienna had to fight not to pull away. The moment his car pulled out of the driveway, Sienna moved into action. She loaded the last boxes into her car. She stripped the bed and took her favorite blankets and pillows. She took half the dishes, half the towels, her clothes, her books. She left a note on the kitchen counter. "Check your schedule. You have a delivery coming." She took one last look at the house they'd bought together, the home she'd made beautiful, the place where she'd thought she'd raise children someday. Then she locked the door and drove away. At Tanya's apartment, she unpacked in a daze. The place was small but bright, with big windows and hardwood floors. It was temporary, she reminded herself. Just until she figured out her next move. At 7:30, Sienna's phone rang. Patricia Morgan. "Papers are being delivered right now," the attorney said. "I have someone in the restaurant. Are you ready for this?" "I've been ready since I found those receipts." "He's going to call. He's going to show up wherever you are. Don't engage. Don't respond. Let him sit with what he's done." "I will." "Good. I'll call you tomorrow." "You did the right thing, Sienna." After hanging up, Sienna sat on the couch in her new apartment. Her phone was in her hand. Any minute now, Derek's life was about to explode. And she felt nothing but peace. Derek Hayes checked his reflection in the restaurant window before walking inside. He looked good. The navy suit, the cologne, the fresh haircut he'd gotten during lunch. Vanessa was worth the effort. She made him feel young again, exciting, like his life was an adventure instead of a routine. Bella Vista was perfect. Romantic lighting, intimate tables, a pianist playing something soft and Italian in the corner. Derek had made a reservation under his real name because he was getting tired of the sneaking around. Soon he'd tell Sienna everything. He'd prepared a speech about how they'd grown apart, how nobody was to blame, how they both deserved happiness. Vanessa was already at the table, looking beautiful in a red dress. Her blonde hair caught the light as she smiled up at him. "You're here," she said, standing to kiss him. "Wouldn't miss it." Derek pulled out her chair before sitting across from her. "You look incredible. You're not so bad yourself." Vanessa reached across the table to squeeze his hand. "I've been thinking about what you said last week. About telling your wife." Derek's stomach tightened slightly, but he kept his smile. "Yeah. Are you sure? I mean, I don't want to pressure you, but Derek, it's been almost 8 months. I love you. I want a real relationship, not stolen Thursday nights." "I know. I want that too." "He did, didn't he?" Vanessa was everything Sienna wasn't anymore. Fun, spontaneous, full of life. She didn't nag him about doctor appointments or ask him to fix things around the house. She made him feel like a man, not a husband. "So when?" Vanessa asked. "Soon. I promise. I just need." "Good evening." A waiter appeared at their table, tall and professional with a slight smile. "Mr. Hayes? Mr. Derek Hayes? That's me. I have a delivery for you." "A delivery?" Derek looked at Vanessa, confused. "I didn't order anything yet." "It's from your wife, sir." The waiter placed a large manila envelope on the table, right between their menus. The restaurant seemed to go quiet. Or maybe it was just Derek's ears ringing. He stared at the envelope like it might explode. "What?" Vanessa's voice was sharp. "His wife." "Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Sienna Hayes arranged for this delivery." The waiter's professional mask cracked slightly, showing something that looked like satisfaction. "She wanted to make sure you received this during your date tonight." Derek's hands shook as he picked up the envelope. Around them, other diners were starting to notice. The woman at the next table whispered to her husband. A couple near the window openly stared. "Derek, what is that?" Vanessa's face had gone pale. He opened the envelope. The words on the first page blurred together, then snapped into sharp focus. "Petition for divorce." "Oh my God," Derek whispered. "Divorce?" Vanessa stood up so fast her chair scraped loudly against the floor. "She knows? Your wife knows about us." Derek couldn't form words. He flipped through the pages. Grounds for divorce, adultery, evidence attached. His heart stopped when he saw the copies. Text messages between him and Vanessa. Hotel receipts. Restaurant bills. Everything. How long has she known? Vanessa's voice got louder. "Derek, how long?" "I don't know, He pulled out his phone, calling Sienna. It went straight to voicemail. He tried again. Same thing. Unbelievable. Vanessa grabbed her purse. You said you were going to tell her. You said you were handling it. You made me the other woman. Vanessa, wait. No. I'm done waiting. I thought you were getting divorced. I thought you were leaving her for me. But she's divorcing you. Vanessa laughed, but it sounded bitter. Do you know how this makes me look? Everyone in this restaurant is staring at us. She was right. The whole restaurant was watching their table now. The pianist had stopped playing. Even the staff had paused to witness the scene. Please, just sit down so we can. So we can what? So you can lie to me some more? Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. I fell in love with you. I believed you when you said your marriage was over. But it wasn't over to her, was it? She didn't even know. That's not. Don't call me again. Vanessa pushed past him, heading for the door. She stopped, turned back, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, and by the way, your wife is way too good for you. I hope she takes everything. The restaurant door slammed. Silence followed, broken only by a few awkward coughs and the scratch of a chair. Derek stood frozen, divorce papers in his hand, every eye in Bella Vista on him. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. Don't come looking for me. My attorney will be in touch. His legs gave out. He sat back down hard, staring at the papers. This couldn't be happening. Sienna didn't do things like this. She was sweet, understanding, predictable. She forgave him when he forgot anniversaries. She never made scenes. He'd never actually known her at all, had he? The waiter reappeared. Will you be ordering, sir? Or should I bring the check? Check. Derek managed. Very good. And sir? For what it's worth, your wife seems like a smart woman. This whole thing was brilliantly executed. Derek looked up. You knew? You were in on this. She called earlier this week. Explained the situation. My manager approved it immediately. His wife caught him cheating years ago and he never forgot how much he hurt her. So when Mrs. Hayes asked if we'd help deliver divorce papers to her cheating husband, we all agreed. The waiter's professional mask slipped completely. You should see the group chat. The whole staff thinks she's a hero. A hero, Derek repeated numbly. Yes, sir. Takes courage to leave a cheater so publicly. Most women suffer in silence. The waiter placed the check on the table. I'll give you a moment. Derek paid the bill in a daze. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. He walked out of the restaurant, aware of every whispered comment, every judgmental look. His car was in the parking lot, but he couldn't remember walking to it. He drove home on autopilot. The house was dark when he pulled into the driveway. That was wrong. Sienna always left the porch light on. The front door was locked. Also wrong. She never locked it if she was home. Derek unlocked it and stepped inside. Sienna? Silence. He flipped on lights as he moved through the house. The living room looked normal. The kitchen looked normal. But when he went upstairs to their bedroom, his heart dropped. The closet door was open. Sienna's side was empty. Her shoes were gone. Her clothes were gone. Her jewelry box, her makeup, her toiletries, everything. Derek ran to the guest room. Empty. The bathroom. Empty. Her home office. The desk was bare. Her laptop gone. Her files gone. He ran back downstairs and found the note on the kitchen counter. Check your schedule. You have a delivery coming. That was it. No explanation. No goodbye. Just a note that made him realize she'd known. She'd known and she'd planned this whole thing while he sat at dinner with her, while he kissed her goodbye this morning, while he lived his double life thinking he was so clever. Derek called her again. Voicemail. He called 20 more times. Voicemail. He sent texts. Sienna, please. Let me explain. It's not what you think. Vanessa doesn't mean anything. I love you. I've always loved you. Please don't do this. Nothing. Not a single response. Derek collapsed on the couch, still holding the divorce papers. The house felt massive and empty. For 8 years, Sienna had filled it with life. With her laugh, her music, her cooking, her warmth. Now it was just walls and furniture. He looked at the papers again. Attorney Patricia Morgan. He should call his own lawyer. He should fight this. But fight for what? He'd been caught. Every lie, every betrayal, documented and photographed and ready to be used against him. Vanessa was right. Sienna was too good for him. And he'd been too stupid to realize it until she walked away. Derek's phone buzzed again. Another text, this time from his brother. Dude. Vanessa just posted on social media that you're a cheater and your wife publicly served you divorce papers at a restaurant. It has 500 shares already. Call me. Derek pulled up social media with shaking hands. There it was. A long post from Vanessa explaining how she'd been dating a married man who lied to her, how his wife had just served him divorce papers at their date, how she felt terrible and betrayed and stupid. The comments were brutal. She served him at the restaurant? Queen behavior. Imagine being stupid enough to cheat on your wife. The wife is my hero. That's how you handle a cheater. Men really think they can have it all until their wife files for divorce. His phone started ringing. His mother. His brother. Friends. Everyone had seen it. Derek turned off his phone and sat in the dark, empty house. The life he'd built over 8 years had just collapsed in less than an hour. And somewhere out there, Sienna was starting a new life without him. Sienna woke up in her new apartment Saturday morning to 17 missed calls from Derek. She deleted them without listening to the voicemails. She'd promised herself she wouldn't look back, and she meant it. Tanya arrived at 9 with coffee and bagels. "You need to see this," Tanya said, pulling out her phone. Vanessa posted everything. Sienna read the long social media post. It started with Vanessa explaining how she'd been dating Derek for months, thinking his marriage was basically over. Then described the restaurant scene in detail, complete with photos of the divorce papers on the table that someone had apparently snapped and sent to her. 200,000 views, Tanya said. "Girl, you're famous." "Great. That's exactly what I wanted." Sienna set down the phone. "I just wanted out." "Well, you got out in style. Everyone's on your side. Look at the comments." Sienna scrolled through them. Strangers praising her courage. Women sharing their own cheating stories. Men apologizing on behalf of their entire gender. A few comments blamed her for not keeping her man happy, but those were quickly shut down by others. "The internet thinks you're a hero," Tanya said. "I'm not a hero. I'm just a woman who got tired of being lied to." Her phone buzzed. Patricia Morgan calling. Derek's attorney reached out, Patricia said without preamble. "He wants to negotiate." "Already? It's been 2 days." He's panicking. According to his lawyer, Derek has called her office 12 times since Thursday night. He wants to mediate, wants to talk to you, wants to work things out. "No. That's what I told them. But Sienna, you need to prepare yourself. This is going to get messy. He's not going to just accept this. Let him not accept it. I don't care." "Good. Keep that energy. I'll handle the lawyers. You focus on yourself." After hanging up, Sienna looked around the small apartment. It wasn't much, but it was hers. No lies hiding in jacket pockets. No secret phone calls in the other room. No more wondering if she was enough. She spent the morning unpacking boxes. In the afternoon, Tanya helped her set up furniture. They hung curtains, arranged books on shelves, made the space feel like home. "You're not sad enough," Tanya observed, watching Sienna organize her kitchen. "You should be crying or eating ice cream or something." "I did all my crying. Now I'm just tired." "That's grief talking." "Maybe." Sienna put dishes in the cabinet. "But I also feel lighter. Like I was carrying something heavy and finally put it down." Her phone buzzed again. Derek calling for the 30th time. She sent it to voicemail without looking. "Block him," Tanya suggested. "Not yet. My lawyer says to keep records of everything, including his harassment." Sunday evening, Derek showed up. Sienna was making dinner when she heard knocking. She looked through the peephole and saw him standing in the hallway looking terrible. Unshaved, wrinkled shirt, dark circles under his eyes. She didn't open the door. "Sienna, please. I know you're in there. Your car is in the parking lot." Silence. "Please just talk to me. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." Sienna pulled out her phone and called building security. "There's someone at my door who won't leave. Can you please escort him out?" Derek's voice got desperate. "Sienna, don't do this. We can work through this. Every marriage has problems. We can go to counseling. I'll do whatever you want." "Sir?" A security guard had appeared. "You need to leave. This is my wife. This is a resident who doesn't want you here. Let's go." Sienna listened to Derek arguing, then finally leaving. She sat on her couch, hands shaking slightly. Seeing him had been harder than she'd expected. Not because she wanted him back, but because she'd spent 8 years building a life with that man, and now he was a stranger she had to avoid. Monday morning, Sienna went to work determined to act normal. She was a marketing consultant at Harper & Associates, working on campaigns for mid-sized companies. Her co-workers knew about the divorce because everyone in the city had apparently seen Vanessa's post, but they were kind enough to not mention it directly. "How are you holding up?" her boss, Mrs. Harper, asked during their morning meeting. "I'm fine. Ready to work." Because I have an opportunity for you. Mrs. Harper slid a folder across the desk. Summit Tech Corporation is looking for a senior marketing director. They saw the campaign you did for Greenleaf and were impressed. They want to interview you. Sienna blinked. Summit Tech? They're huge. And they're offering double your current salary, full benefits, and a signing bonus. I'll be sad to lose you, but this is the kind of opportunity you don't pass up. When do they want to interview? Tomorrow if you're available. Sienna looked at the folder, then at Mrs. Harper. Why are you helping me? You're my boss. You should want me to stay. Mrs. Harper smiled. 20 years ago, my husband cheated on me. I stayed because I thought I had to. I spent another decade being miserable before I finally left. When I saw what you did, serving him those papers publicly, I wished I'd had your courage back then. She tapped the folder. You deserve better. In love and in career. Take the interview. Tuesday morning, Sienna wore her best suit and walked into Summit Tech's downtown office tower. The interview lasted 2 hours. They asked about her campaigns, her strategy, her vision for their brand. She answered confidently, professionally, and felt something she hadn't felt in months, excited about her future. We'll be in touch, the hiring manager said, shaking her hand. But between you and me, you're exactly what we're looking for. Sienna floated out of the building. Her phone buzzed with a text from Tanya. Lunch? They met at a cafe near Tanya's salon. Sienna told her about the interview, about the salary offer, about how good it felt to focus on something other than her crumbling marriage. You're glowing, Tanya observed. I'm relieved. For the first time in months, I'm thinking about my future instead of Derek's lies. Speaking of Derek. Tanya pulled out her phone. My cousin works at his firm. Apparently he's a mess. Missing meetings. Making mistakes. Everyone knows about the affair now, and his bosses are not happy. Good. Girl, that's cold. Is it? Sienna leaned back. He lied to me for months. Spent money we were saving for a house on hotels and restaurants with his mistress. Made me look like a fool to everyone who knew. So excuse me if I'm not crying over his work problems. Tanya held up her hands. You're right. He deserves everything he's getting. That night, Derek tried again. This time he waited outside Tanya's salon, knowing Sienna would have to pass by to get home. Sienna, please? She kept walking. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I was stupid. I was having some kind of early midlife crisis and I messed up everything. She reached her car. Don't throw away 8 years. What we had was real. Sienna unlocked her car, got in and drove away. In her rearview mirror, she saw Derek standing on the sidewalk looking lost. Her phone rang. Patricia Morgan. Derek's lawyer is pushing for mediation. They're claiming the public humiliation affected his mental health and his job. Are they serious? Very. They want to argue that the manner of divorce was intentional infliction of emotional distress. Sienna laughed. He cheated on me for months and I'm the one who inflicted emotional distress? That's exactly what I said. I told them to try it and I'll bury them with evidence of his infidelity. They backed down. But Sienna, he's desperate. Desperate people do unpredictable things. What do you suggest? Document everything. Every call, every text, every time he shows up. If he escalates, we file for a restraining order. Wednesday night, Sienna got the call from Summit Tech. They wanted her. Senior Marketing Director. Double her salary. Start date in 2 weeks. She accepted immediately. For the first time since finding those receipts, Sienna allowed herself to feel something other than anger or grief. She felt hope. Thursday morning, exactly 1 week after the restaurant incident, Derek sent one final text. I know you hate me. I know I ruined everything. But I need you to understand something. What we had was real. I loved you. I still love you. And when you're ready to talk, I'll be here. I'll wait as long as it takes. D. Sienna read it once, then blocked his number. She wasn't going to wait for him. She wasn't going to forgive him. She wasn't going to be the understanding wife who gave him another chance. She was going to build a new life. Without him. And she was going to be happy. 3 weeks after the divorce papers were served, Sienna walked into Summit Tech Corporation for her first day of work. The building was glass and steel, modern and impressive. Her office was on the 15th floor with a view of the city. She had a real desk, a computer that actually worked fast, and a team of 5 people reporting to her. Welcome to Summit Tech, her new boss, Robert Chin, said during orientation. We're excited to have you lead our consumer marketing division. Sienna spent the morning in meetings, learning about ongoing campaigns and upcoming product launches. Her team seemed eager to work with her, and she felt a spark of something she'd thought was dead, ambition. During lunch, she sat in her office and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, Derek was probably at his desk, dealing with the fallout of their divorce. She'd heard through Tanya's cousin that he'd been demoted after missing 3 important client meetings. His apartment was small and far from the house they'd shared. Vanessa had apparently started dating someone else. Sienna felt nothing about any of it. Not satisfaction, not pity, nothing. He'd become irrelevant to her life, and that was the best revenge of all. That evening she met Tanya at a new restaurant downtown. They'd made it a weekly thing, Tuesday dinners to catch up and decompress. "You look different," Tanya said, studying her across the table. "Different how?" "Lighter. Like you're not carrying the world anymore." Sienna smiled. "I feel lighter. This new job, the apartment, being away from all the lies. It's like I can finally breathe." "Have you heard from Derek?" "Not since I blocked him. Patricia says his lawyers stopped pushing for mediation. They know they don't have a case." "Good. That man put you through enough." Tanya paused. "Have you thought about dating again?" "No. Absolutely not. Come on. You're 31, beautiful, successful. And freshly divorced from a man who made me feel like I wasn't enough. I'm not ready to let someone else have that power over me." Tanya reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "I get it. But don't let him steal your faith in love. Not all men are Derek." "Maybe not. But I'm happy alone right now. That's enough." The next few weeks blurred together in the best way. Sienna threw herself into work, developing a campaign for Summit Tech's new product launch. She went to the gym during lunch. She read books she'd been meaning to read for years. She learned to cook new recipes just for herself. She redecorated the apartment slowly, making it feel more like home. On a Friday afternoon 6 weeks after starting her new job, Sienna was reviewing marketing materials when her office phone rang. "There's a Cameron Foster here to see you," the receptionist said. "He says he has a meeting?" Sienna checked her calendar. "Right. Cameron Foster, architect from Foster & Price. Summit Tech was building a new headquarters, and the architects wanted marketing input on the design. Send him in." The man who walked into her office was tall, with kind brown eyes and an easy smile. He wore business casual, his sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms marked with calluses that suggested he did more than just draw buildings. "Miss Hayes?" "Cameron Foster." He extended his hand. "Thanks for making time." "Of course. Please sit." Sienna gestured to the chairs across from her desk. "I reviewed the preliminary designs. They're impressive." "Thank you. But we want to make sure the building works from a marketing perspective too. It'll be Summit Tech's new face to the world." They spent an hour discussing sight lines, public spaces, how the building's design could reflect the company's brand. Cameron was smart and listened more than he talked. He asked questions and actually seemed to care about her answers. "This has been incredibly helpful," Cameron said as their meeting wrapped up. "I'll incorporate your feedback into the next design phase. I look forward to seeing it." He stood to leave, then paused. "Can I ask you something personal?" Sienna tensed. "Okay. Are you the woman from that restaurant? The one who served her husband divorce papers on his date?" Her stomach dropped. "How did you?" "My sister sent me the social media post. She said you were her hero." Cameron smiled gently. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry you went through that. But what you did took courage. Or pettiness, depending on who you ask." "No. Courage. My ex-fiancé cheated on me 2 years ago. I found out 3 weeks before the wedding. I canceled everything quietly, never told anyone why. Looking back, I wish I'd had your spine." Sienna studied him. "What happened?" "She married the guy she cheated with. They divorced 6 months later." Cameron shrugged. "I spent a year being angry, another year healing. Now I'm just grateful I found out before the wedding." "I'm sorry that happened to you." "Don't be. It led me here." He smiled again and Sienna found herself smiling back. "Anyway, I'll see you at the next design meeting?" "Yes. Next month, right?" "Right. Have a good weekend, Miss Hayes." "Sienna. You can call me Sienna." "Then call me Cameron." After he left, Sienna sat at her desk for a long moment. That had been nice. Just a conversation with someone who understood without judgment. She hadn't felt that kind of ease with anyone in a long time. The weekend was quiet. Sienna went to a yoga class, cleaned her apartment, visited her mother for Sunday dinner. Her mom had been supportive through the divorce, never saying, "I told you so," even though she'd never quite warmed to Derek. "You look good," her mother said, serving fried chicken and greens. "Better than you have in years." "I feel good, Mama. That job treating you right?" "It's perfect. Challenging but in a good way. Her mother studied her. And your heart? How's that doing? My heart is healing. Slowly, but it's healing. Good. You take your time. Don't rush into anything just because you're lonely. I'm not lonely. I'm alone. There's a difference. Smart girl. Her mother patted her hand. You always were stronger than you gave yourself credit for. Monday morning, Sienna arrived at work to find a coffee on her desk with a note. Thought you might need this for Monday morning. Cameron. She looked around, but he wasn't in the building. She pulled out her phone and sent him a professional thank you text. He responded immediately, my pleasure. The design team loved your input. Lunch sometime to discuss phase 2? Sienna hesitated. Was this professional or personal? Did it matter? She typed back, sure. Let me know when. Over the next few weeks, Cameron became a fixture in her work life. They had lunch meetings to discuss the building design. He sent her articles about marketing and architecture that he thought she'd find interesting. They discovered they had similar taste in podcasts and music. It wasn't dating. It was just two professionals working together. Except it started to feel like more. One Thursday evening, after a particularly long design meeting, Cameron walked with her to the parking garage. Can I ask you something? He said as they reached her car. Go ahead. These meetings? Are they still just business to you? Sienna's heart skipped. What do you mean? I mean, I enjoy working with you. But I'm starting to enjoy spending time with you even more. Cameron leaned against her car. And I'm trying to figure out if I'm reading this wrong. You're not reading it wrong, Sienna admitted. But I'm also not ready for what comes next. I'm not asking for what comes next. I'm asking if you'd want to get dinner sometime. No business talk. Just two people getting to know each other better. Sienna looked at him. Really looked. He was patient, kind, honest. The opposite of Derek in every way that mattered. But could she trust that? Could she trust herself not to miss the warning signs again? I need to think about it, she said finally. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. Cameron smiled. But Sienna? You deserve to be happy. Don't let one man's mistakes make you afraid of trying again. As she drove home that night, Sienna realized something. She wasn't afraid of trying again. She was afraid of failing again. Of investing in someone who would throw it away. Of being vulnerable and getting hurt. But Cameron was right. She deserved to be happy. And maybe, just maybe, happiness meant taking a risk. 3 months after Derek walked out of Bella Vista with divorce papers in his hand, Sienna sent Cameron a text. Dinner sounds nice. But let's take it slow. His response came immediately, slow works for me. How about Saturday? Saturday works. Sienna set down her phone and looked around her apartment. It was small but beautiful, filled with things she loved. She had a job she was good at. Friends who supported her. A future that was entirely her own. And now, maybe, the beginning of something new. Derek Hayes sat in his small apartment on a Tuesday night, eating takeout from a container while scrolling through social media. It had been 3 months since the restaurant, and his life was still a disaster. His phone showed Vanessa's profile. She'd blocked him everywhere, but he could still see her public posts. The latest one showed her with a new boyfriend, some tech entrepreneur with perfect teeth and more money than Derek would ever have. The caption read, "Finally found someone who respects me." The comments were full of people congratulating her for moving on from that cheating guy. Derek closed the app. He looked around his apartment. 1 bedroom, barely furnished, in a building on the wrong side of town. After Sienna took half of their savings and he had to pay for his own lawyer, this was all he could afford. The divorce wasn't even finalized yet, but his life had already fallen apart. Work was worse. After missing those client meetings while he spiraled after the divorce papers, Derek had been demoted. No more senior account manager. Now he was back to regular account work, reporting to someone 5 years younger than him. His coworkers whispered when he walked by. Everyone knew about the affair, about the public divorce, about how spectacularly his life had imploded. His phone rang. His mother. Derek, honey, your father and I are worried. I'm fine, Mom. You're not fine. You sound terrible. When's the last time you ate a real meal? Derek looked at his takeout container. I'm eating right now. Fast food doesn't count. His mother sighed. We want you to come home for a while. Just until you get back on your feet. I'm 40 years old. I'm not moving back home. Then get your life together. This situation with Sienna, it's been months. Have you tried to talk to her? She blocked me, Mom. Her lawyer sends everything through my lawyer. I can't talk to her even if I wanted to. And whose fault is that? Derek closed his eyes. His mother had been furious when she found out about the affair. She'd always loved Sienna, had treated her like a daughter. When the divorce started, she'd made her disappointment clear. I know it's my fault. I know I messed up. Can we please not do this again? Fine. But Derek, you need help. Maybe therapy. Maybe a support group. Something. Because this path you're on, it leads nowhere good. After hanging up, Derek opened his laptop. He typed Sienna Hayes Summit Tech into the search bar. Her company profile came up. Senior Marketing Director. She'd gotten promoted already. Of course she had. Sienna had always been brilliant at her job. He just never paid attention. He scrolled through her professional achievements. Awards, successful campaigns, glowing recommendations. She was thriving. Meanwhile, he was eating cold Chinese food in a studio apartment and wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row because laundry felt impossible. Derek opened his messages and typed out a text to his lawyer. How long until the divorce is final? The response came an hour later. Judge reviews the case next month. Barring any complications, should be finalized by end of year. End of year. 3 more months of this limbo. 3 more months of knowing his marriage was dead and there was nothing he could do about it. On Thursday, Derek ran into Vanessa at a coffee shop downtown. She saw him and immediately turned to leave, but he caught up to her. Vanessa, wait. Please. I have nothing to say to you, Derek. I just want to apologize. For everything. You deserved better than what I put you through. Vanessa turned to face him and her eyes were cold. You lied to me. You made me think your marriage was over. You made me the villain in your story. I know. I was wrong. You're right, you were wrong. And you know what the worst part is? I actually loved you. I thought we had something real. She shook her head. But we didn't. You were just a married man having an affair, and I was too stupid to see it. It wasn't like that. Yes, it was exactly like that. And honestly, I hope your wife takes everything. She deserves it after what you put her through. Vanessa stepped around him. Don't contact me again. Derek watched her leave, feeling hollower than ever. Friday at work, Derek got called into his boss's office. We need to talk about your performance, his boss, Richard, said. Derek's stomach sank. What about it? You've missed 3 deadlines this month. Your work quality is slipping. Clients are complaining. Richard leaned back in his chair. What's going on? I'm dealing with some personal stuff. The divorce. Yes. Richard nodded. Look, I'm sympathetic. Divorce is hard. But Derek, you're not the first person to go through this. At some point, you need to compartmentalize. Do your job or we'll have to let you go. I understand. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're letting your personal life destroy your professional life. Your wife moved on. Vanessa moved on. When are you going to move on? Derek left the office feeling like he'd been punched. Everyone had moved on except him. He was stuck in that moment at Bella Vista, reading divorce papers while a restaurant full of strangers judged him. That weekend, Derek drove past the house he'd shared with Sienna. It had a for sale sign in the yard. She was selling their home, cutting all ties. Soon there would be nothing left of their marriage except paperwork and bad memories. He parked across the street and just looked at it. They'd bought that house 7 years ago. Sienna had painted the bedroom blue. He'd built the deck in the backyard. They'd hosted Thanksgiving there, had friends over for barbecues, talked about which room would be the nursery someday. Now it was just a building with a for sale sign. Derek's phone buzzed. His brother calling. Hey man, you okay? Not really. I figured. Listen, I'm coming to town next week. Let's get dinner. You need to talk to someone who isn't your lawyer or your boss. Yeah. Okay. And Derek? Stop torturing yourself. You made a mistake. A big one. But you can't change it now. All you can do is move forward. What if I don't know how to move forward? Then you figure it out. One day at a time. That's all any of us can do. After hanging up, Derek looked at the house one more time, then drove away. His brother was right. He couldn't change the past. He'd cheated on Sienna. He'd lied to her for months. He'd treated their marriage like it was disposable. And now he was paying the price. Monday morning, Derek's lawyer called. Sienna's attorney sent over the final settlement proposal. What does it say? She's taking half the equity in the house, which is fair. Half the savings. She's not asking for alimony since she makes more money than you now. She wants her grandmother's ring back. That was a gift. Derek, don't fight about the ring. This is the most generous divorce settlement I've seen in years. She could have destroyed you financially. Instead, she's being fair. Derek closed his eyes. Even in divorce, Sienna was being more decent than he deserved. Sign the papers, his lawyer continued. Accept the settlement. Move on with your life. Because trust me, if you fight this, she'll fight back. And from what her attorney tells me, she has a lot more ammunition than you do. Fine. I'll sign. Good choice. That evening, Derek signed the divorce settlement papers. His hand shook as he wrote his name, finalizing the end of his marriage. 8 years reduced to a stack of legal documents and a division of assets. He thought about calling Sienna one last time. Trying to explain. Trying to apologize properly. But what was the point? She'd made her choice. She'd served him divorce papers at a restaurant with his mistress sitting across from him. She'd blocked his number. She'd moved on. And maybe it was time for him to accept that some things couldn't be fixed. Derek sealed the signed papers in an envelope and left them for his lawyer to pick up. Then he sat in his small apartment and finally allowed himself to grieve. Not for Sienna, though he missed her in ways he couldn't articulate. Not for Vanessa, who had been an escape rather than a relationship. But for the man he'd thought he was and the life he'd thrown away chasing something that was never real. 3 months after Bella Vista, Derek Hayes was alone, broke, professionally damaged, and facing a future that looked nothing like the one he'd planned. And he had no one to blame but himself. 6 months after the divorce papers were served, Sienna stood in front of a conference room full of executives, presenting her latest campaign. The room was silent as she clicked through her slides, explaining strategy, showing projected returns, demonstrating why Summit Tech should invest $2 million in her vision. When she finished, the room erupted in questions. She answered each one confidently, clearly. By the end of the meeting, 3 executives had approved the campaign, and her boss was beaming. Brilliant work, Robert told her afterward. You've earned that bonus we discussed. Sienna walked back to her office feeling invincible. A year ago, she'd been crying in a guest room, reading text messages between her husband and his mistress. Now she was running major campaigns and earning praise from some of the smartest people in tech. Her phone buzzed. Cameron, heard your presentation killed. Celebration dinner tonight? They'd been seeing each other for 2 months now. Slowly, carefully, taking time to build trust. They'd had dinner, gone to movies, walked through parks. Cameron never pushed, never demanded more than she was ready to give. He was patient in a way Derek had never been. Sienna texted back, "Pick me up at 7? It's a date." That evening, Cameron took her to a small restaurant with outdoor seating and fairy lights strung overhead. They talked about work, about the building design that was almost finalized, about a podcast they'd both listened to that week. "Can I tell you something?" Cameron said as they were finishing dessert. "Of course. I really like this. Whatever we're building here." He reached across the table and took her hand. "And I know you're being careful. I know you're protecting yourself. But I want you to know that I see you. Not just the successful professional or the woman who publicly divorced her cheating husband. I see you. And I'm not going anywhere." Sienna felt something crack open in her chest. "I'm scared." "Of what?" "Of trusting someone again. Of believing in something that might fall apart." She squeezed his hand. "Derek made me feel like I wasn't enough. Like no matter what I did, it wasn't worth staying for. And logically, I know that was about him, not me. But emotionally? I'm terrified of feeling that way again." Cameron nodded slowly. "My ex made me feel like I was boring. Like I wasn't exciting enough to keep her attention. She wanted someone who lived bigger, took more risks. And for a long time I believed her. I thought I needed to change who I was to be worth loving." "What changed your mind?" "Therapy. And time. And realizing that she cheated because of her own issues, not because I was lacking." Cameron smiled. "And then I met you. You're brilliant and strong and funny. And you don't need me to fix you or complete you. You're whole on your own." "So what are we doing here?" Sienna asked. "If I'm whole and you're whole? Choosing to share our lives. Not because we need each other but because we want to." Cameron's thumb traced circles on her palm. "No pressure. No rush. Just 2 people enjoying each other's company and seeing where it goes." Sienna felt tears prick her eyes. "That sounds really nice." "Then let's keep doing it." The next few weeks were the happiest Sienna had been in years. Work was fulfilling. Her campaign launched and exceeded expectations. She got another raise. She moved into a bigger apartment with a balcony and a view. And Cameron was there through all of it, supporting without smothering, present without being possessive. Tanya noticed the change immediately. "Girl, you're glowing," she said during their Tuesday dinner. "Am I?" "Don't play innocent. You're happy. Really happy." Sienna smiled. "I am. It's weird, right? 6 months ago my life was falling apart. Now everything feels like it's falling into place. That's not weird. That's what happens when you stop settling for less than you deserve. Tanya raised her glass. To new beginnings and men who actually deserve your time. They clinked glasses. Have you heard from Derek? Tanya asked. No. The divorce was finalized last month. My lawyer said he signed everything without fighting. That's it. 8 years of marriage over. How do you feel about it? Relieved. Free. A little sad but mostly relieved. Sienna paused. I saw him last week actually. What? Where? Downtown. He was coming out of a coffee shop. He looked terrible. Lost weight, dark circles, rumpled clothes. Sienna swirled her wine. He saw me too. Just stared. I nodded and kept walking. That's cold. Is it? He cheated on me for months. Lied to my face every single day. Made me question if I was enough. I don't owe him warmth. You're right. I'm just surprised you didn't feel anything. I felt something. I felt grateful that I left. Sienna set down her glass. Seeing him like that, I realized he's not my problem anymore. He's not my husband. He's not my responsibility. He's just a man I used to know who made really bad choices. 2 weeks later, Sienna was working late when her office phone rang. The receptionist. There's someone here to see you. He says it's important. Who is it? He says his name is Derek Hayes. Sienna's stomach dropped. Tell him I'm not available. He says he'll wait. Then call security and have him removed. I don't want to see him. 10 minutes later, security called to confirm Derek had been escorted out. Sienna sat at her desk, hands shaking. Why would he come here? What could he possibly want to say? Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry. That's all. I'm sorry for everything. D. Sienna blocked the number without responding. That night, she told Cameron what happened. How do you feel? He asked, sitting next to her on the couch in her new apartment. Angry that he showed up at my work. But also just tired. Tired of him still affecting my life. What do you want to do? Nothing. Ignore him. Hope he gets the message and leaves me alone. Sienna leaned against Cameron's shoulder. I just want to move forward. I don't want to keep looking back. Then we'll move forward. Cameron kissed the top of her head. Together. The next morning, Sienna met with Patricia Morgan to discuss a restraining order, just in case Derek showed up again. Patricia assured her they could file immediately if needed. How are you doing otherwise? Patricia asked. Good. Really good actually. I'm glad. You've handled this whole situation with remarkable strength. Patricia smiled. And for what it's worth, I hope Derek knows what he lost. I don't care if he knows. I just care that I know. Sienna stood to leave. I know I'm worth more than how he treated me. And that's enough. That weekend, Summit Tech threw a party celebrating the success of Sienna's campaign. She wore a dress she'd bought specifically for the occasion, did her makeup carefully, and walked into the event feeling confident and beautiful. Cameron met her there, looking handsome in a dark suit. They danced, laughed, talked to coworkers and clients. Sienna felt genuinely happy for the first time since before she found those receipts. Near the end of the night, Robert pulled her aside. I have some news. We're opening a new office in Chicago. We want you to head up the marketing division there. Sienna blinked. Chicago? It's a promotion. Bigger team, bigger budget, bigger salary. You'd be one of the youngest division heads in the company. Robert smiled. Think about it. Take your time. But Sienna, you've earned this. As she drove home that night, Sienna thought about Chicago. It would mean leaving everything she'd built here. The apartment, her routine, Tanya. Cameron. But it would also mean a fresh start. A new city where nobody knew about Derek or the divorce. A place where she could build a life entirely her own. She thought about the woman she'd been a year ago. Scared, hurt, crying in a guest room. And she thought about who she was now. Strong, successful, happy. Maybe Chicago was exactly what she needed. Or maybe what she'd built here was too good to leave. Either way, the choice was entirely hers. And that felt like victory. Derek stood outside Summit Tech's building on a cold November morning, watching employees stream in through the glass doors. He'd been standing there for 20 minutes, working up the courage to go inside. He tried everything else. The blocked number texts. The showing up at her work only to be escorted out. The messages through mutual friends who told him to leave her alone. Nothing worked. Sienna had cut him out of her life completely, and he was desperate to talk to her one more time. The divorce was final. The house had sold. He'd signed away his marriage with a pen and walked away with half of what they'd built. Half wasn't enough. Not when he'd lost everything that actually mattered. Derek checked his reflection in the building's windows. He tried to look better today. New shirt, clean shave, haircut. He wanted Sienna to see that he was getting his life together. That he was worth a second chance. He walked inside. The receptionist looked up, recognition flashing across her face. "Sir, Miss Hayes gave specific instructions. I just need 5 minutes. Please. I'm her husband. Ex-husband. And I'm calling security." "Wait." Derek held up his hands. "I'm not here to cause problems. I just want to talk to her. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." The receptionist picked up the phone. Derek knew he had seconds before security arrived. He ran for the elevators, slipping past her desk. The elevator dinged and he jumped inside, pressing the button for the 15th floor. The doors closed just as he heard the receptionist yelling. Derek's heart hammered as the elevator climbed. This was stupid. Crazy. But he had to try. He had to make her understand how sorry he was, how much he regretted everything, how he'd spent the last 9 months living in a nightmare of his own making. The elevator opened on the 15th floor. Derek stepped out and found himself in a bright, modern office space. He asked someone where Sienna's office was and they pointed down the hall, looking confused. Derek walked toward her office, passing coworkers who stared at him. He knocked on her door. "Come in," Sienna's voice called. He opened the door. Sienna looked up from her computer. When she saw him, her entire face went cold. "What are you doing here?" "I needed to see you. You broke through security. Again." Sienna stood up, reaching for her phone. "I'm calling? Please. Just 5 minutes. Then I'll leave and never bother you again. I promise." Sienna hesitated, her hand on the phone. "You have 2 minutes? Then I'm calling security myself." Derek stepped inside and closed the door. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. Talk." He looked at her, really looked. She was beautiful. More beautiful than he remembered. She wore a professional dress that fit perfectly. Her natural hair was styled in twists that framed her face. She looked healthy, confident, successful. She looked happy. And he'd given that up for hotel rooms with Vanessa. "I'm sorry," Derek started. "I know I've said it before, but I need you to hear it. I'm so sorry for everything. For the affair, for the lies, for throwing away our marriage. I was an idiot. I was selfish. I ruined the best thing in my life." Sienna's expression didn't change. "Is that all?" "No. I want you to know that Vanessa meant nothing. It was never about you not being enough. You were always enough. More than enough. I don't know what happened. I got caught up in feeling young again, feeling exciting. It was stupid and wrong and I've regretted it every single day since you left." "Since I left?" Sienna's voice was sharp. "You mean since you destroyed our marriage?" "Yes. Since I destroyed our marriage." Derek took a step closer. "But Sienna, we had 8 years together. 8 good years before I messed everything up. That has to count for something. That has to mean something." It meant something. Past tense. It meant trust and loyalty and commitment. Things you threw away. Sienna crossed her arms. "Your 2 minutes are up. Please just listen. I'm getting help. I'm in therapy. I'm trying to understand why I did what I did. And I know I can't fix the past, but maybe we could work on the future. We could start over. Do it right this time." "Start over?" Sienna laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Derek, there is no starting over. There's only what happened. And what happened is that you chose to cheat on me for months. You lied to me every single day. You took Vanessa to expensive restaurants while I was at home thinking we were saving money. You booked hotel rooms while I was working late to help pay our mortgage." I know all of that. And I'm sorry." "Stop saying you're sorry." Sienna's voice rose. "Sorry doesn't fix anything. Sorry doesn't give me back the months I spent thinking I was losing my mind. Sorry doesn't erase the humiliation of everyone knowing my husband was cheating. Sorry is just a word you use to make yourself feel better." Derek felt tears sting his eyes. "Then what can I do? Tell me what to do and I'll do it." "Nothing. You can do nothing. Because I don't want anything from you." Sienna walked around her desk to face him directly. "I'm happy now, Derek. Truly happy. I have a job I love. Friends who support me. A life that's entirely mine. And yes, I'm seeing someone. Someone who treats me with respect and honesty. Someone who doesn't lie or cheat or make me question my worth." The words hit Derek like punches. "You're dating someone? That's what you focus on? Not that I'm happy, but that I've moved on?" Sienna shook her head. "That tells me everything I need to know. You don't actually care about my happiness. You just can't stand that I'm not waiting around for you anymore. That's not true. I do care about your happiness. No, you care about your guilt. You want me to forgive you so you can stop feeling bad about what you did. But Derek, your guilt is not my responsibility. Your feelings are not my problem. You made your choices and now you get to live with them. Sienna, please. Get out. We're done here. I love you. I still love you. Sienna's eyes were hard. You loved yourself more. You loved the excitement of an affair more. You loved lying and sneaking around more. Whatever you felt for me, it wasn't enough to keep you faithful. And I deserve someone who doesn't have to try to be loyal. I deserve someone who chooses me every single day without hesitation. Derek felt his last hope crumble. So that's it? 9 years of knowing each other, 8 years of marriage, and you're just done. You were done the moment you kissed Vanessa. The moment you booked that first hotel room. The moment you decided your happiness was more important than our marriage. Sienna walked to her office door and opened it. Now leave. And if you ever show up at my workplace again, I'll file a restraining order. Derek walked to the door on shaking legs. He turned back one more time. I hope you're happy. I really do. I hope whoever he is, he treats you right. He does. Every single day. Sienna's voice softened slightly. I hope you find happiness too, Derek. But you won't find it with me. That door is closed. Forever. Derek walked out of her office and down the hall, past the staring co-workers into the elevator. Security was waiting in the lobby, but they let him leave without incident. He walked out into the cold November air and finally let himself cry. He'd lost her. Really truly lost her. Not just legally but emotionally. She'd moved on. Built a new life. Found someone else. And there was nothing he could do about it. Derek sat in his car for 20 minutes, sobbing like a child. All the grief he'd been holding back for 9 months poured out. Grief for his marriage, for the man he used to be, for the future he'd imagined and destroyed. Finally, he wiped his eyes and started the engine. Sienna was right. He needed to let go. He needed to stop torturing himself and her with apologies that didn't fix anything. He needed to accept that some mistakes were too big to take back. As he drove away from Summit Tech, Derek knew he'd never see Sienna again. Not like this. Not as her husband or her friend or anything other than a painful chapter in her past. He'd have to find a way to live with that. Somehow. 3 months later, Sienna sat in her newly renovated office in downtown. The space was twice the size of her previous one, with floor-to-ceiling windows and modern furniture. On the wall hung a professional photo and the words Sienna Hayes Consulting in elegant letters. She'd done it. Left Summit Tech to start her own marketing firm. It had been terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. But after Derek's desperate plea in her office, after realizing she'd built something strong enough to stand on its own, Sienna decided she was done working for other people. This is incredible, Tanya said, walking through the space. You really did it. We really did it. Sienna gestured to the desk across from hers. That's your office. As my business partner. Tanya's eyes filled with tears. Girl, are you serious? You helped me through the worst time of my life. You gave me a place to live, reminded me who I was, supported every decision. Now I want to build something with you. Sienna smiled. Besides, you're brilliant at connecting with people. I need someone who can handle client relations while I focus on strategy. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. They hugged, both crying and laughing. Two women who'd supported each other through heartbreak now building a business together. The first month was chaos. Finding clients, establishing systems, learning to manage everything from bookkeeping to legal paperwork. But slowly it started to work. Sienna's reputation brought in clients. Tanya's charm kept them happy. By month 3 they had 5 major accounts and were looking to hire their first employee. Cameron supported everything without trying to control it. He celebrated the wins, problem-solved the challenges, and reminded Sienna to eat when she got too absorbed in work. You're building something amazing, he told her one evening after a particularly long day. It's terrifying. What if I fail? Then you'll learn and try again. But Sienna, you won't fail. You're too smart and too determined. They were having this conversation in Cameron's apartment. Sienna had been spending more time there lately. They'd been together for 6 months now, taking things slow but steady. She had a drawer for her things. He kept her favorite coffee in his kitchen. It wasn't moving in together, but it was something. Can I ask you something? Sienna said, curled up next to him on the couch. Always. Are you happy? With us, with how slow we're going? Cameron turned to face her fully. I'm incredibly happy. Being with you doesn't feel like a compromise or settling. It feels like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Even though I'm a disaster sometimes? Even though I have trust issues and panic when things feel too serious. Especially then. Because you're honest about it. You don't hide your struggles or pretend to be perfect. You're real. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. And watching you build your company, watching you come into your own power, is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Sienna kissed him, slow and deep, pouring months of careful trust into it. Later that night, lying in Cameron's bed, Sienna checked her phone. An email from a potential client. Another from Tanya about a meeting next week. And one from a professional organization. An invitation to speak at their annual conference about building a business after life upheaval. She'd be on stage telling her story. The divorce, the betrayal, the decision to start over. 6 months ago the idea would have terrified her. Now it felt empowering. What are you smiling about? Cameron asked sleepily. I got invited to speak at a conference. That's amazing. What's the topic? Rebuilding after betrayal, basically. You'll be brilliant. He pulled her closer. You always are. Sienna set down her phone and settled into his arms. A year ago she'd been sleeping in a guest room, discovering text messages that destroyed her marriage. Now she was running her own company, speaking at conferences, and falling in love with someone who actually deserved her trust. 2 weeks later, Sienna stood in front of 200 people at the conference. She told them about finding the receipts, about planning the divorce, about serving Derek papers at the restaurant. She talked about the pain of betrayal and the power of choosing yourself. A year ago, I thought my husband's affair defined me, Sienna said, her voice strong and clear. I thought his betrayal meant I wasn't enough. But I was wrong. His choices revealed his character, not my worth. And when I finally understood that, everything changed. I stopped begging for crumbs from someone who couldn't see my value. I started building a life that reflected what I deserved. And that's when everything fell into place. The audience applauded. Afterward, dozens of women approached her, sharing their own stories of betrayal and survival. Sienna listened to each one, offered encouragement, reminded them they were stronger than they knew. That evening, Tanya threw a celebration dinner at her apartment. Sienna's mother came along with friends and Cameron. A toast, Tanya said, raising her glass. To Sienna. For surviving, for thriving, and for inspiring all of us to never settle for less than we deserve. Everyone raised their glasses. Sienna looked around at the people she loved, the life she'd built, the future stretching ahead with possibilities. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Saw your speech online. You were always too good for me. I'm sorry I couldn't see it before. D. Sienna deleted it without responding. Derek wasn't part of her story anymore. He was just a lesson she'd learned and moved past. You okay? Cameron asked, noticing her expression. Perfect. Sienna put her phone away and focused on the celebration. I'm absolutely perfect. The next morning, Sienna got news that made everything feel complete. Summit Tech wanted to be her consulting firm's first major client. They were offering a year-long contract worth $500,000. Are you kidding me? Tanya screamed when Sienna told her. They said they were impressed with my work and wanted to support my new venture. This is huge. This is everything. It was everything. Validation that leaving had been right. Proof that betting on herself had paid off. That weekend, Sienna treated herself to something she'd been wanting for months. She bought a house. Not a huge one, but perfect. 3 bedrooms, a backyard with space for a garden, big windows that let in natural light. It was entirely hers, bought with money she'd earned building a business from nothing. On moving day, Cameron, Tanya, and her family helped her unpack. Her mother walked through each room, pride shining in her eyes. I'm so proud of you, she said, hugging Sienna tight. Look at everything you've built. That night, after everyone left, Sienna stood in her new living room and allowed herself to feel it all. The grief of what she'd lost. The pride in what she'd built. The hope for what was coming. She'd survived the worst betrayal of her life. She'd served divorce papers at a restaurant and walked away without looking back. She'd started a business, found love again, bought a house. She'd won. Not because Derek's life had fallen apart, though it had. But because she'd refused to let his betrayal define her future. She'd chosen herself, again and again, until choosing herself became natural. Sienna's phone rang. Cameron. How does it feel? First night in your new house. Surreal. Amazing. A little scary. Want company? Sienna smiled. Yeah. I'd like that. 20 minutes later, Cameron arrived with wine and takeout. They ate on the floor since her furniture hadn't been delivered yet, laughing about the ridiculousness of eating expensive Thai food surrounded by moving boxes. "This is nice," Cameron said. "Building something from scratch." "It really is." "Sienna?" Cameron set down his food. "I know we're taking things slow. But I need you to know something. I'm not going anywhere. Whatever you need, however long it takes, I'm here." Sienna felt her eyes well up. "What? Why are you so patient with me?" "Because you're worth waiting for. Because I'd rather build something slow and strong with you than rush into something that falls apart." He took her hand. "And because I love you." The words hung in the air. Sienna hadn't heard them from anyone but family in over a year. Part of her wanted to run, to protect herself, to not risk this fragile trust they'd built. But a bigger part of her was tired of running. "I love you too," she whispered. Cameron's face lit up. He pulled her close, kissing her gently. "No pressure. No expectations. Just truth." "Just truth," Sienna agreed. That night, they fell asleep on an air mattress in her empty bedroom, holding each other. And for the first time in over a year, Sienna felt completely at peace. She'd built an empire from the ashes of betrayal. And it was beautiful. 1 year after the restaurant, Sienna stood in front of her bathroom mirror getting ready for the annual business awards ceremony. Her company had been nominated for Best New Firm, and she'd been nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year. Tanya was coming with her, along with Cameron. "You nervous?" Tanya asked, zipping up Sienna's dress. "Surprisingly, no. Whether we win or not, I'm proud of what we built. Look at you being all mature and philosophical." Sienna laughed. "I learned from the best." They arrived at the ceremony to find a ballroom full of business leaders, local politicians and press. Sienna spotted several clients and stopped to chat. She felt confident, successful and most importantly at peace. Cameron looked handsome in his suit, staying close but not hovering. He'd mastered the art of being supportive without being overbearing. "Ladies and gentlemen," the announcer said as dinner wrapped up. "It's time for our awards." The first few categories passed. Sienna applauded for the winners, genuinely happy for them. Then came her category. "And the award for Best New Firm goes to..." The announcer opened the envelope. "Sienna Hayes Consulting." Tanya screamed. Cameron pulled Sienna up, kissing her quickly before she walked to the stage. She accepted the award in a daze, the applause washing over her like a wave. "Thank you," Sienna said into the microphone. "A year ago, I was ending a marriage and questioning everything about myself. Today I'm standing here with a business I love, a partner I trust, and a future I built with my own hands. To anyone out there going through hard times, you are stronger than you think. You can rebuild. You can start over. You can win." The applause was deafening. An hour later, she won Entrepreneur of the Year too. "This is unreal," Sienna said backstage, holding both awards. "This is deserved," Tanya corrected. "You worked your butt off for this." The local news wanted an interview. Sienna stood in front of cameras telling her story one more time. But now it wasn't about the betrayal. It was about what came after. "How did you find the strength to start over?" the reporter asked. "I realized I had two choices," Sienna said. "I could let betrayal break me or I could let it transform me. I chose transformation. I chose myself. And everything good that's happened since then came from that one choice." Later that night, back at her house, Sienna, Tanya, and Cameron celebrated with champagne and laughter. Her mother called to congratulate her. Old friends texted photos of the award ceremony that were already circulating online. "Speech time," Tanya announced, standing up with her glass. "Sienna, you are the strongest woman I know. You took the worst thing that could happen to a marriage and turned it into the best thing that could happen to your life. You inspire me every single day." "My turn," Cameron said. "Sienna, meeting you was fate. Falling in love with you was inevitable. Watching you build this empire has been the honor of my life. I love you more than words can say." Sienna felt tears slip down her cheeks. "Okay, now I have to say something. Tanya, you saved me when I was broken. You gave me a place to land and reminded me who I was. This business is as much yours as mine. And Cameron, you taught me to trust again. You showed me that not all men are Derek. You're patient and kind and everything I thought I'd never find. I love you both so much." They clinked glasses, all crying now. After Tanya left, Cameron and Sienna sat on her back porch, looking at the stars. "Can I ask you something?" Cameron said. "Always. If you could go back and stop Derek from cheating, would you?" Sienna thought about it. Really thought about it. "No. No. If Derek hadn't cheated, I'd still be in that marriage. I'd be comfortable but not happy. I'd be settled but not thriving. His betrayal hurt, but it also freed me. She took Cameron's hand. It led me here. To this house, this business, you. I wouldn't trade this life for the one I had, even if that one came without the pain. That's profound. That's healing. Sienna smiled. A year ago I couldn't have said that. A year ago I was angry and hurt and broken. But I did the work. I rebuilt myself piece by piece. And now I can look back and see that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually a gift disguised as pain. Cameron pulled out something from his pocket. A small velvet box. Sienna's heart stopped. Cameron. Wait, let me say this. He opened the box to reveal a beautiful ring. I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet. But I'm asking if, someday when you're ready, you'd consider building a life with me. Not because you need me, but because we're better together. No pressure. No timeline. Just possibility. Sienna looked at the ring, then at Cameron's hopeful face. 6 months ago this would have terrified her. 3 months ago she would have said she needed more time. Now, ask me again in 6 months, she said softly. Cameron's face fell slightly. Because in 6 months, Sienna continued, I'll say yes. His face transformed. You will. I will. I love you, Cameron. And I trust you. But I want to be completely healed before I promise forever to anyone. I want to be sure I'm choosing you because you're right, not because I'm afraid of being alone. I can wait 6 months. I can wait 6 years if that's what you need. It won't be years. Just time to be completely sure. Time to prove to myself that I can stand on my own 2 feet before I stand beside someone else. Cameron kissed her deeply. You're incredible. You know that. I'm learning. The next morning, Sienna woke up to her phone buzzing with notifications. Photos from the award ceremony had gone viral. Her speech about choosing yourself was being shared across social media. News outlets wanted interviews. And buried in all of it, one text from an unfamiliar number. Congratulations on your awards. I saw the interview. You always deserve better than what I gave you. I'm glad you found it. D. Sienna read it once. For a moment she thought about responding. Then she deleted it and blocked the number. Derek had nothing to do with her success. Her awards weren't about him. Her happiness wasn't because of him or in spite of him. It was because of her. Her choices. Her strength. Her refusal to stay broken. Who was that? Cameron asked, bringing her coffee in bed. Nobody important. Just someone from my past. Everything okay? Everything is perfect. Sienna set down her phone and focused on the man in front of her. The man who'd never lied, never cheated, never made her question her worth. Absolutely perfect. 3 months later, Sienna stood at a professional conference giving another keynote speech. This time the audience was even bigger. She talked about her company's success, about the importance of women supporting women in business, about turning pain into power. After the speech, a young woman approached her. Maybe 25, with nervous eyes and shaking hands. Miss Hayes? I just wanted to thank you. My husband cheated on me last month. I saw your story online and it gave me courage to leave. I filed for divorce last week. Sienna took the woman's hands. I'm so proud of you. I know it's scary right now. I know it hurts. But I promise you, there's a whole beautiful life waiting on the other side of that pain. Did you ever regret leaving? Not once. Not for a single second. Sienna smiled. The best revenge is living well. Build a life so full and beautiful that your ex becomes just a footnote in your story. That's what I did. And you can do it too. The woman hugged her, crying. Sienna held her, remembering what it felt like to be that broken, that scared, that uncertain about the future. 6 months after Cameron showed her the ring, Sienna woke up in her beautiful house, next to the man she loved, running a company she'd built from nothing. She looked around at her life and realized something profound. She was whole. Not because Cameron completed her. Not because her business validated her. But because she'd done the hard work of healing. She'd chosen herself again and again, until she became someone she was proud to be. That evening, Cameron took her to dinner at a small restaurant. Not Bella Vista, but somewhere new, somewhere that held only good memories. Can I ask you something? He said over dessert. Sienna smiled, knowing what was coming. Yes. You said 6 months. It's been exactly 6 months. Cameron got down on one knee right there in the restaurant. Sienna Hayes, you are the strongest, smartest, most beautiful woman I've ever known. You inspire me every day. Will you marry me? The restaurant went quiet. Everyone watched. Sienna looked at Cameron's hopeful face. She thought about Derek, about the marriage that ended in betrayal. She thought about the woman she'd been then, scared and settling and pretending to be happy. Then she thought about who she was now. Successful, strong, secure in herself. And she realized something. She wasn't afraid anymore. Yes, Sienna said, her voice clear and certain. Yes, I'll marry you. Cameron slipped the ring onto her finger. The restaurant erupted in applause. He kissed her and Sienna felt nothing but joy. Not joy because she was getting married again, but joy because she was choosing love from a place of wholeness, not emptiness. Because she'd learned what she deserved and refused to accept less. Because she'd turned her greatest pain into her greatest triumph. That night, Sienna called Tanya to share the news. Finally, Tanya screamed. I was wondering when he'd ask again. I'm getting married, Tanya. Actually married. To someone who loves me the way I deserve to be loved. You're going to have the most beautiful wedding. Small wedding. Just people we love. Nothing fancy. Whatever you want. It's your day. Your life. Your happy ending. After hanging up, Sienna sat on her porch and looked at the ring on her finger. It was different from the one Derek had given her. That ring had represented a future that was built on lies. This one represented a future built on trust. She thought about Derek one last time. Wondered if he was happy. Hoped he'd learned something from losing her. Then she let him go, completely and finally. He wasn't part of her story anymore. He was just the chapter that taught her what she wouldn't accept. The painful lesson that led her to something beautiful. Sienna looked around at her life. Her house. Her business. Her ring. Her future. She'd walked into Bella Vista thinking her life was falling apart. She'd walked out knowing it was just beginning. And now, 1 year later, she was living proof that sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is having the courage to walk away from what's breaking you and walk toward what will heal you. She'd taken her revenge. Not through anger or bitterness, but through building a life so beautiful that Derek's betrayal became nothing more than the push she needed to find her power. And that was the sweetest victory of all.